So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this FiscalVue webinar here today. My name is Ryan Combs. I am the Director of Partnerships here at Intellinetics. A couple quick housekeeping items. Everybody is muted upon entry. Drop any questions in the chat, and we can address as many of those as we can at the end. Anything we don't get to, we will send out a follow-up along with a slide deck and a recording of today's call. In that follow-up will be the entire list of Q&A questions. So quick agendas today. We'll do some quick introductions. I have Todd Griffith, the treasurer at Licking Heights School District outside of Columbus here with us today. So I will pass it over to him. Once I'm done here, he can introduce himself. I'll share a quick brief overview of Intellinetics, and then again hand it over to the star of the show, Todd, and he can walk you through a bit about FiscalVue, the problem he faced, the problem it solved, and how his district is using it on a day-to-day basis. So a little bit about Intellinetics and a little background on us for those of you who are unaware. We are a Columbus-based digital transformation company, really focused on content management and process automation for what we call mission-critical organizations. So K-12 districts, local government, law enforcement. For an example, we work with over 500 districts across the country in really multiple capacity. So such as document scanning, physical document scanning, document management, intelligent document capture and processing, and our newest solution, which we have here, which is FiscalVue, and really the reason we're here today. So without wasting any more time, I will pass the mic over to Todd to introduce himself and tell really the group about how his districts uses FiscalVue on a day-to-day basis. So Todd, over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. I'm Todd Griffith, treasurer at Licking Heights. Just a fun fact. Ryan is one of my best friends from high school, so it's really weird, like in a professional capacity, like doing something like this. But we'll get going, and so I'll tell you about it. I've had trouble for the last, it's kind of something I've been after for the last decade, is trying to get our administrators engaged in the financial process more. So I wanted to provide them with a better understanding of what they had available. And I really wanted to know, like, do they even care? And what do they care about? And so 3 years ago, I went through a process where I really sat down with all our administrators. We had just finished a strategic plan, and I wanted them to I wanted to know, what do they want to know? Do they care at all? And so I met with them for several months, and we really dove into that question, and we figured out what the barriers were for why they weren't looking at their finances, or what capacity they actually were looking at their finances. So we was asking a bunch of questions, and ultimately I went to Ryan and I said, hey, can you help us? Like, this is what my people are asking for, and we need to be able to meet them. Because right now we have accounting systems, and prior we gave them access to an accounting system. So that accounting system works great for accounting. It's not a good budget management system for them. We used scheduled reporting. They weren't really satisfied. They weren't looking at the reports. They didn't understand the reports. So this is where we're at. I'll go ahead and share it. Talk you through what we use now, and it's been a game changer for us. And this is FiscalVue. Can you guys see my screen, Ryan?
Yes, we can, Todd.
Okay, great. Okay, so all it is it's a budget management tool, so they can actually see and understand what they're looking at. The one things they ask is when we use Broad Peak as an example, that's one of our elementary schools, and we use the general fund. They wanted a single sign-on, which is what Ryan's team did. Single sign-on, so they're just clicking, they're in. They wanted to know their budget. They wanted to know how much they spent. They wanted so far. They wanted to know what they had in POs, and they wanted to know what they had unencumbered. That's really it. So they put it right up top. So if they want nothing else, they can quickly figure out, all right, I have 14,000 in POs, and quite honestly, their secretaries use this a lot too, as much or more than the administrators. And so they can quickly see, all right, I have 14,000 POs as an example. Here are all their budgets if they want to drill down and look at their actual budget lines. So you can see all their budget lines here for general fund. If they want 018, they can do that. Or all of them together, they can do that. Down here is a table that shows basically the cash flow. So here's current year. We spent in 26, we spent 49,000 so far, almost 50. Here's prior years, 25, 24, FY23. Here's your months along the top, July, August, September, October, November. And if you're looking in current year, you see how much we've spent each month. This is also what we frame every budget discussion around. So every discussion we have around this tool, this is how when we have budget meetings, we frame it around this tool. When they have asks, although how they communicate with us has changed, our administration. Part of this tool down here, like if you're like, oh, what did they spend $8,500 on in November? Everything's clickable. You just click it and it shows you what the $8,500 was. So it's PBIS and Scholastic, which we spend a crap load of money on PBIS every year. Awesome. I don't know much about it other than like it must be a good thing because they spend a lot of money on it. But everything's clickable. So you can just click and you can see exactly what we spent in a particular month. And you can see prior months. If you click here, you can see the whole year's transactions. If you want to filter by, say, just your supply line, you click it and it filters all this information just by our main supply line. Same thing down here. It just shows you what our supply line has and what we spent by month. So step one is really, here's budgets, here's basic budget information, here's a little more drilled down information. You can click right here. So if you want to go directly to transactions, you can either click on any of these or you can just click on expense and it takes you directly to your transactions. And you can see what you spent. Here, if you want to go CPOs, you click your encumbrances and it takes you directly to your encumbrances and you can see what you have available in POs. Also, if you click on any of these, you can see all the checks that were written on the POs and the check information. So all your data is right here. But those are the big three things. It's budgets, it's transactions, and it's purchase orders. And if there's been one thing, it really has been a game changer. Like when Pupil Services comes and asks us for $40,000 for like this year, sub nurse, because our nurse went out on maternity leave, and we looked at their budget through here, and they're quickly able to see like, all right, no, we actually do have enough budget to transfer from line to line. We get a lot of emails now that copy and paste the lines so we can transfer funds. They're not asking us the questions as often as like, we don't have money. It's like, no, can you move money from here to here? Or can you close POs because I see that I have POs open that will free up unencumbered money so I can buy things. Like it's changed how they communicate and operate. All right, I'm like obsessed with all the AI rage, and probably my favorite thing about it is there's on top of all of it, there's an LLM. So they use Claude to query all your data. And this is probably the most fascinating part to me, in that we use more frequently than anything else now. I mean, other than just looking at quick numbers. I'll give you a few examples and I'll show you how it works. A simple one is we had someone, I think it was one of our buildings and grounds committee members a couple weeks back, ask us how much we are spending on FMX, which is our our ticketing system for maintenance. So we were just like, how much did we spend on FMX this year? So you can either go to transactions and there's a filter for all of your vendors that you can pick by, or you can just ask it and it's going to go look and find out how much you've spent on cloud or on FMX this year. And so that's what we did. It was just like our superintendent can ask really quick how much they spent on FMX, and it showed us. Another thing that we did is we're in is about a month ago where we started the process, and now we're actually in it. But we did athletics campaign, and so our superintendent was like, "What are the top 20 vendors we spent money with, so we can go ask them for money?" So we just asked FiscalVue. So I always call the chat part of this Nora, but for this sake, I'll call it FiscalVue. Nora's my daughter, and I always am like, ask Nora because she has answers for everything. Okay, so what are the top 20 vendors we spent money on this year? Okay. And Nora listed the top 20 vendors. All right, I'll stop. I'm Ryan. I'll quit trying to brand it Nora. I'm sorry. Love it. All right. And so then we had the top 20 vendors. Everything in here is exportable, like everything. Um, so you can actually export it to a CSV if you wanted it, but this is just like a quick example. It aggregates the data for you, and it can get pretty complex in how it aggregates data. So I mean, one, it quickly told us how much money we spent for each of our top 20 vendors. One of the things that it does, oh, I'll show you real quick. Here's where the CSV export is. Also, it's on every table, so you can export it on every table. I guess I don't need this anymore. Here's another example. So we were looking for funds. We did actually for pupil services first, just for fun, be like, all right, where's money available? So you can ask it like, okay, here's a good one. We said, what budgets are over $50,000 and still have, let's even make it more specific. What fund 001 budgets have over $50,000 and still have over 50% remaining? I probably don't have that many anymore, but let's see. Okay, so I got one. Okay, so I have one line still that has 50, that's over $50,000, that has over 50% remaining. So as we get closer to the year, that shrinks. But this is a way it aggregates your data for you. It looks at your general fund, and then it says, okay, let me find all the budgets that are over 50K, and then find budgets that have over 50%. So if you're looking for funds, you can do this all day long, change the percentages, change the amounts to try to figure out like, all right, where can I go rob money from? What budgets? Another thing is like when they were working with like some of our colleagues, they said, all right, well, we would really like the USAS manual ingested. And so they ingested the most recent USAS manual. And so that way our secretaries can ask questions on like coding, or we can ask questions. An example would be, okay, at the high school, what account code can I use to buy frogs for science class? Okay, great. Yeah, and so it's not going to just tell you the exact code. It's going to go look at the high school, and it's going to evaluate its lines and figure out what's close enough that you can actually pay for it. So we're not getting a bunch of emails. It's like, hey, here's the exact code. I don't have an account for that. It's just going to go out and be like, all right, here's your supply lines that you could put frogs for science class in if you need to set up PO. Tells you how much is in the budgets and it gives you the budget lines. So yeah, so the USAS manual part is helpful. Most of these things all came from like our colleagues, like the links to going straight to expenditures, encumbrances. So a lot of the feedback goes right to Ryan Combs, and they make updates really, really quickly, and to make this tool like more meaningful for us. But that's how we use it. It really has been a game changer for us. And yeah, Ryan, am I missing anything? I get or so here's a couple other things for treasures. There's Intel AI. It's a more advanced Intel LLM and AI tool. You can either click on it here and it'll bring it, and it's more like a chat back and forth bot. So it remembers the context of your conversations if you want to get deeper into some of the analysis. And then there's data insights for treasures. So like our staff, they only see and budgets, transactions, and POs. These two are for the treasurers or admin on it who set up user assignments and data. And these are just some like quick health indicators. So don't judge me for my bad data. But overspent budgets, if you want to look, it's going to give you your overspent budgets. And if you click here, it'll take you directly to Intel AI and ask the question and let you like drill down on your overspent budgets if you want to, or you want to ask questions. So this is just like another quick tool. But yeah, that's really that's the gist of it, and it really has made a massive difference for us. But yeah, Ryan, am I missing anything? I don't want to waste time. I figured we just get into it and show what it does for us. And
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that was perfect. Appreciate you sharing your journey and your story. We do. Let me share my screen. Are you guys able to see my PowerPoint again?
yeah, I see
Can you
it.
see this? Okay,
Mhm.
cool. We did have some a couple questions from Tanya here, so I think she has three of them, so I'll just kind of go down
Anya,
one by one.
what's up?
So she said, did I understand correctly that the budget transfers can be completed within the software by the principal or director?
No, normally what's happened for us is they just copy paste those account budget units and paste them to us in emails. So like they actually know their account codes, but it's not done within the software. Good question.
Yeah, that's a
I
great question.
knew,
I think
Tanya,
that's
I knew you'd ask good questions. Yeah,
I think that's came up before, Tanya, as well from some of our current
yeah,
customers outside of Todd, and doing specific workflows and things like that are something on the roadmap. So we have very big plans for this, for future enhancements and releases. And we're doing that by listening to our customers. So we're putting together a user group. Hopefully, we'll be meeting probably in June for that first one. And really, all the enhancements, everything is going to be driven by treasures, right? We're not in the space. We're not practitioners day to day. We know the software space, but we want this to be a tool that's built for treasurers, by treasurers, for administrators, by administrators.
yeah. I'm gonna say the same thing, but the part that Ryan's talking about is they're building a users group that it is all the changes to this and the direction of it is designed and driven by us and what we want, exactly how we want it. So they're not just like building stuff for us to use. We're designing and telling them what we want, and they're doing it. And that's how this came about. This is exactly what my staff told me they wanted, and then they did it, and now it's been awesome. Um,
Yep,
yep.
great. Tanya, I believe I disabled or I enabled your mic if you had something else to say, but while you're doing that, um, Tanya also said, did I understand you say that purchase orders can be closed from the software as well?
No, again, this is, it's not reading and writing to the software. It's just they're able to quickly see and identify the fact, like Broad Peak is here. If I were to show you again, here we go. Good question. So like Broad Peak, if they need something, what's happened is they've actually been, I like normally they'd be like, we don't have money for this, but now they're identifying quickly. They can be like, okay, well, I can close these POs that I have open that I'm not going to spend, and then they go spend the money they have, which traditionally has been like a whole different conversation. Here, I'll stop
Thank you for
sharing.
enabling my mic. Just another question. So Todd, can you go back to the screen that you were just on?
Sure. Here we go. Yep.
So are they able to like hover over or click on encumbrances to get a list of the purchase orders that are encumbered?
So like from here, you can
Yeah.
click it, and this is all the purchase order numbers. Here's all your purchase orders, and I mean, they can export it. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I just wondered if they could view them quickly to know what's encumbered, because currently, obviously,
Yeah.
with the state software, they get to see the encumbrance, and then we provide as part of our weekly bundles an outstanding purchase order report, so they can tie that back to their encumbered amount.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's really cool that you can see what's encumbered by clicking on it. Then they can quickly identify what POs to close. So I do
That's
like
what they've
that.
done. Yeah, they email us the PO numbers that they want us to reduce or close. Yep.
Yep, so that
Thanks,
makes
Tanya.
sense. And then if you click on a purchase order, Ryan, this takes my next question. I'll just go ahead and ask quickly since he's on the screen.
Yeah.
You can see then all the checks that
Yeah.
have been paid against a particular PO
Yep.
and get an up-to-date total based on what's been invoiced and paid.
Yeah, it's here too. So you see your original PO, if you have change orders, which I don't think redesign does. But and then payment. So you can see your payment history, and then all your checks are listed here.
And then if you click
You
on
can
one of
see.
those checks, does it show you the details of the check?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Hey,
they're
Todd, you're making me a believer. I'm liking this more.
Yeah,
Were you afraid that
Tanya.
I wasn't sold?
All
Okay,
right.
I see
Heck
some
yeah.
benefit here. Okay, that's my
Cool.
question. Thank you for
All
allowing
right.
me to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
of course.
Ryan, I'll tell you, Tanya and I have known each other for a long time. Like we've gotten to know
Okay.
each other like from back in the day. So
Gotcha. That's awesome. All right, cool. Well, we have some other questions we'll get to here. Aaron Van Meter said, are there any aspects of this program that you use in your board reports?
so like an export to my board report. No, I don't use this for board reporting. This has been primarily for like communication with our administrative team, or like them understanding budgets. Although I don't know, Ryan, is that on the roadmap? I have
Yes.
no idea.
So I was going to, yeah, reports, dashboards, all that, yeah, are,
So
on the roadmap. And then in addition to this, I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole, but this is unlimited users. So if you wanted to give your board access to this, you most
heck
certainly
no.
can. Yeah, that's what I figured the feedback would be. But
I
in
don't.
the
No
in the
way.
off chance you want to do that,
Yeah.
yes, you have
If
that
you're a
ability.
wild, if you're a wild one, you can. Yeah, but the part of that, I guess, like that's another good point, Ryan. Like every time someone's asked about anything, like a board report, they normally take it back and look and see if like, do we want to does a users group need to design that? Because the data is all here. To your point, the data's here. Like they have all the data updates every single night. It's live when you get in. You don't have to do anything. And so like that's reasonable.
Hmm.
It's good.
Cool.
Good
Perfect.
suggestion.
Matt had a question as well. Very helpful for my question. We have issues with running OSP. I'm assuming that's outstanding PO reports for our staff to review near year end. Is there functionality in this system to help with PO reviews by staff? Oh, and then he
Oh,
said, yeah,
oh yeah.
this screen that's helpful. So, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the best that like our staff uses it all the time for that purpose.
Perfect. And then the last question is, what does implementation involve from Tanya? So yeah, great question. So Basically, what we would do, we have a very strong implementation program built out. So, in terms of getting the data, it's super simple. With redesign, it's scheduled reports or API. I know we're building out the API. We're working with some
New
redesign
Albany
districts on New
and
Albany to build that out. So it's scheduled reports. You send it to an inbox that we set up for you. The data gets updated nightly about 10 p.m. Same thing for EFP. We're trying to build out an integration with them, but they don't like to play two nights in the sandbox with other vendors, unfortunately. But the scheduled reports, it takes about 15 minutes to run those reports, and then basically
you
what
don't
it is, we can go. Yep.
and you don't think about it again. It's a
Yep.
one-time setup, and then they go every night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then really the implementation is, kind of custom to your district. We normally start off with a kickoff and training call with what we would call the super users. So whether that be, the treasurer, assistant treasurer, superintendent, whoever wants to be involved in that, we do that. And then we have standing hypercare meetings just to get the feedback on the system, your usage, what's working. And then scattered trainings, throughout the month or two, while we're getting set up with your staff. So, I mean, Todd, your implementation was what, probably a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Well, the
some are
data
up
was in
in.
there really quick. It was mostly just like training staff, just being like, here's
Exactly.
the getting logins in, and that was
Okay,
simple.
just to kind of add to that, so with other softwares that we've implemented, it requires a ton of legwork on behalf of either me or a member of our staff to document a bunch of things on a pre-populated spreadsheet. That is an absolute nightmare that
It's
I
not
don't want to
this.
do. It's not
Yeah.
that. Okay.
You're
It's not
you're gonna
this.
spend like you're gonna spend uh 15 minutes doing the scheduled reports. Once the next day when the data populates from the scheduled reports, it takes a handful, like I don't know, I bet you'll spend do you have your departments broken down by OPU?
We do, yeah. And
Yeah,
we
and
currently have
that
a bunch of,
simplifies it.
does it? Okay, so we
And
also have, and I don't know how this would convert over to your software, but within redesign, we have filters set up for every one of our buildings, every department.
Yeah.
That's how we currently run all of our reports, is based on account filters, where whatever budget accounts they have
this
are included in their weekly bundle reports.
this has, yeah, account filters, same way. It's super simple. I bet it'll take you 20 to 30 minutes to have every single one of these set up, if not faster, if they're by OPU.
Okay,
And then it's just sending out invites through here, like
okay,
by sending the emails to your secretaries and your admin. And
gotcha.
the email, it sends from the system. So
Mhm.
I sent out a mass email. I said, look for FiscalVue email. It's coming. Make sure you set yourself up.
Okay,
And then I sent them out and they signed in, and then we're on our way.
okay. Yeah, I know I was talking to Felicia over at Johnstown Monroe,
Yep.
and I think,
Yep.
are you guys onboarding her soon?
I think so.
We're meeting with the cabinet
Thank you,
team
guys.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that she told me that I saw her at OASBO and she mentioned that she's gonna give it a whirl. So I'm kind of interested to see, like, I was not thinking that this is something that I would want, but now after seeing it, I'm a believer in it. So I'll stay in touch with Felicia throughout her time too, because she, like a lot of the ways that her accounts are set up there are how we have them here. So I want to see what that looked like for her, and then we'll kind of go from there on it. But I appreciate you entertaining my questions.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're here for. Thanks. Okay, Todd, one more question came in from Aaron Long. If departments are not broke out by OPU, how is implementation? Our buildings are broke out by OPU, but not our departments.
It's not bad. If you know what account codes you have, or if you have any sort of filters already, it's is my screen still up?
Yeah, it is, Todd.
Yeah, so if you break it out, this is one of are you on redesign? Who asked?
Aaron Long.
Okay. I don't know if they're on redesign or not. Redesign, this is even simpler.
Redesign, yes.
Okay, so like if you know what your general budget units, one, you can bulk add if you export it and you have assignments, you can do it. Or in here, like here's OPU. So I'll show you an example. If you know what your account codes are, you can just pick like 3, and then I go find like 111 for my high school, and I click it. And then what you can do is you just drag and drop, and it assigns you can write whatever manager or department you want. So I'd be like high school, and you drag and drop, and it assigns everything with that code that's filtered from this budget unit into high school. And then if I have changes, I just remove the high school and I'll just change it to ESC or whatever. It took 20 minutes for me to get all of these aligned to my software. It's a really, really slick tool.
Yeah, and if you want to do it in Excel as well, if you have that data
Yep.
listed out in, an Excel file, you can do it in Excel and then just upload it or import it directly into the
Yeah.
system as well. So there's multiple ways of getting it in and setting that up. Yeah,
Right.
great question.
I think your team would help them.
Yep, yep. And then, Matt, are you able to access views? For example, our secretary from one building is not able to see budgets from another building. Great question. That is in the works. So right now, everybody sees everything. And Todd, I know you actually kind of like
I
that
preferred
setup.
it that way.
Mhm.
Like that's I wanted it that way, but like you said, you're working on rules right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So just so you guys are aware, like I mentioned, we're going to be adding a lot to this. In the upcoming months. One piece is we're adding a revenue piece. We were asked that from some of our customers. And then, I think every customer that we have, has told us their disdain for actually the budget planning process of doing everything in, Excel, Google Sheets, what have you. So we're actually going to be adding a budgeting module in here as well. So with that, we'll need roles, approvals, all that.
And to be clear, like Ryan, they're committed to not just building a budget tool, but like having the user group design it.
Mhm.
So as users, especially this first wave of users with FiscalVue, we're all gonna get to design it and make it exactly the way that we want it. As far as budgeting goes. So they're not just a software company that's gonna go like, here's a budget tool for you. Like there's others that are kind of garbage that have done that. And so am I right, Ryan? You guys are committed to like the users
Yes.
group designing this process.
100%. Yeah. And discussions have already started taking place with that realm. So, yeah, if you're interested in that, moving forward with us and want to be involved in the user group, definitely let me know. I'll share my screen again. Here's all my contact information. I know I see some.
What a handsome picture. Good
Thank you.
grief.
Thank you. I know I see some people that stopped by our booth at the OASBO show last week. So if you didn't grab my card, here's my information. And those of you who didn't, here's my info. If you want to schedule a call, get pricing, have another conversation with us where we can show your administrative team, whatever you guys need, we're happy to do.